Hi, and welcome to Daughter of a Narcissistic Mother Chronicles. It's been a long time since I recorded anything and been busy, but I don't even know where I left off the last time. But I guess I'll just start anywhere. Well, it's hard when you grow up and you feel like there's nothing that you can get right, nothing that you do is ever good enough. You remember all the more negative throughout your lifetime spoken to you by your narcissistic mother than anything positive, anything good. And even when there were times when there was something may have been good, the narcissistic mother, in my case, always made sure to come back with something that basically canceled out whatever the positive was. So it's been, I would say, about a year and a half since I've spoken to my narcissistic mother. Um, I talked to my dad. They're married, so I talked to my dad, but I don't call my narcissistic mother, and she doesn't call me. She's always had this attitude that because I'm the daughter, that it's always me have to be the one doing the calling. And that's not true, because in any relationship, it takes two people to make that relationship work. But it's always been that way with me and my mom. Whenever there was an issue, which was always, um, I would always have to be the one to call. I would always have to be the bigger person. I would always be the one trying to apologize, trying to get things right. And my mother would rather bite bricks than to than to admit that she's wrong about anything, to even try to make amends, to even say I'm sorry, to even be the bigger person to try to make things work. She won't do it. It was one time I went a year and didn't talk to her, and not one time did she ever pick up the phone and call me. It was me that had to be the one to reach out. And once again, it's been like a year and I guess it's been about a year and a half that I have actually, the last time I actually had a conversation with her. And to this day, she never admits she's wrong, never called, never say she's sorry, never do anything. But it's been good. It's been good because during this time, I haven't had anyone putting me down. I haven't had anyone telling me what I'm not. I haven't had anyone saying you a bad daughter, you don't do nothing for me, all these things. And I grew up with my mom always telling me, when I got 20, when I was 19, 20, you don't do nothing for me. Now, at the time, I was in the military at 19 years old. You don't do nothing for me. And I look back because my mom is only 18 years older than me. She had me at 18. And so I look back and I'm 43 right now. And so during the time my mother was telling me this, she was like in her late 30s, early 40s. And I couldn't imagine saying those words to my daughter, you don't do nothing for me. Because I'm young. I'm 43 right now. What in the heck was I supposed to be doing for you? You married, your kids were out the house. Your daughter was going, in the military, and then went to college, and your son was doing his thing. What in the world was I supposed to do for you? But see, she always had this attitude that everybody owed her something. She wasn't supposed to go out and do anything on her own because my mother hasn't worked since she was 17, maybe 16 years old. She's been with my dad since she was 17, 18. So you're talking about 43 years that my mother has been with my father and have not worked. She's done like maybe kept a couple of kids for a little while off and on throughout those years, but it wasn't that long, just maybe a month, a couple months maybe. But overall, she's been a housewife, hasn't done anything. But I look at how she tried to make me feel throughout my whole lifetime that I wasn't doing anything for her. And it was like making me feel like I owed her something just because. I existed. And it took me learning about narcissism in my early 40s. It took me to learn about narcissism before I actually knew that my mother was stuck on crazy. Because I'm like, I don't have any children and I've never been married. But I couldn't imagine having a daughter my daughter, if we were, if I was doing the same age difference between me and my daughter will be, what, 25? And I would be telling, at 43 years old, I'm telling my 25-year-old daughter, you don't do nothing for me? Are you kidding me? And I look at that, I was like, now I see, I'm like, she was crazy. She was crazy. Because if I had a daughter that was 25, I would be wanting my daughter to go to college, maybe she would have graduated by now, go have a career, go traveling, have friends, maybe she dating a good man, get married, whatever she wanted to do, I would support that. I wouldn't tell tell my daughter, you don't do nothing for me. You don't do for me. It was, that's the thing I've heard like my entire life. It was always, you don't do nothing for me. And I'm like, what in the heck was I supposed to do for you? And so now she's what, 62? She'll be 62 this month. And I feel like all those years I was hearing how horrible of a daughter I was. What, I guess because I didn't put money in her account, but I was supposed to take care of myself. She had a husband that bought everything, still does, works and buy everything for her, cars, got a house that they own, property, whatever she needs, whatever she wants. Her husband has supplied it. My father has supplied it. Good man, you know. And I've been out here my life. I haven't been married. I haven't had that that person that buy me everything or whatever. But that's okay because I did for myself. I went to college after I got the military, got my first bachelor's degree, started my own business with daycare, got out of that. And then, I've had my ups and downs in life, but everyone does. And I got my master's degree, working on another master's degree, and I'll be graduating next year. And, it's very seldom that I've asked them for anything. My dad, if it was something I needed, it will be something that I'm like, I'm going to pay you back in a few weeks, and that's what I do. But for the most part, I've tried to live my life where I didn't have to depend on anybody. I may have had one year that I had some hard times. But other than that, I don't ask for anything. I don't ask for anything. And so I believe in being independent. I believe in, doing what I need to do as an adult. But see, someone that always has this expectation that you're supposed to do everything for them, they're gonna they're not gonna appreciate who you are because it's all about them. And that's how narcissists are. It's all about them. She's even put me down like because I wasn't married. Like that's the most important thing in life that you can accomplish. Forget that I have education. Forget that, hey, I don't have any children. I'm not, having babies all over the place and all that stuff that, you have someone, a daughter who has not put the cart before the horse. And this is nothing to put down anybody where that may have been the case, because we've all done things that, we wish we may have done differently and things like that. This is not the case. But I'm referring to how she could not be proud of the daughter that I was, and could not value me as a person. The most critical person that has been in my life has been my mother. It wasn't boyfriends, it was nothing like that. My mother, the most negative person that has been in my life, has always been my mother. And that's sad. I can't, even if things didn't work out with me and a guy, I can't say that that it was drama, so much drama with them that put me down. It was my mother, my mother. And so it's sad because like I look at now, again I'm 43 years old, and if I had a daughter, there's no way in the world that I would go and not talk to my daughter. I mean, we may have gotten upset with each other, but I would pick up that phone and call my daughter. And I would say, hey, we had a disagreement, but, let's try to work it out. But see, my mother's never been like that. It's always had to be me. I've always had to be the one to call. I always had to be the one to try to get things right, try to make things right with her. But she would never say I'm sorry, never apologize, never admit to anything. And that's how narcissists are. They never do. And even if they be sarcastic with their apology, it's a fake apology. It's not real. You can't trust nothing they say. And so this whole time that I haven't been talking to her, I've been able to work on me. I've been able to appreciate who I am as a person, not trying to please someone else who would never be pleased anyway. Because when it comes to narcissists, there's nothing you can do to please them. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that about my mother. It was nothing that I was going to be ever able to do to please her. She will always see something that I'm falling short of. Whatever standard she had for me, I would never be able to meet it because she'll always try to raise the bar up higher. And guess what? I had to learn that it wasn't meant for me to try to meet her standards. It wasn't meant for me to try to make her happy. I was only responsible for making myself happy. This is not in a selfish sense. This is saying that I'm not responsible for someone else's happiness. There's something that one time Will Smith said, which is so true. He was talking about for his relationship with Jada. And he said that you can bring a smile to someone's face, but you can't make them happy. And that's true. That's so true. I can do something for you that's nice, but I can't make you happy if you're empty on the inside. And see, sometimes we expect other people to make us happy when that's not what they're here for. That's not their role in our lives. Their role is just to be there and to be there, and whatever supportive role they have in our lives, we're to just appreciate wherever they are in our lives. But when it comes to making someone happy, we can't make someone happy. Narcissists are never happy. They're I call them empty holes. They got holes for hearts. Nothing's there. They're never content. They're never happy. And this is how my mother is. She's always been a miserable person, always been a jealous person. She was always jealous of the relationship with me and my dad. You love your dad more and all this kind of just crazy stuff. No, what it was is that my dad treated me with respect, whereas my mother never has. And then when it comes to just me as a person, it was always trying to basically put me down, even with my brother. She'll hang on to his every word. And then when I come to the house, he could be there, and it's like, oh, I don't care what you're saying. I'm listening to your brother. And I didn't say anything. I just looked at her. I'm like, wow, really? But see, her mother was the same way. And my family, on her side, is a disdain for the females. And it's the males are celebrated. So in this case, it's always my brother, my brother, my brother. He's the golden child, and I've always been a scapegoat. But again, since I haven't been in contact with her, no contact, it's been good for me. Sometimes you have to break away from those people who are hurting you, and you should, because you deserve to be loved for who you are. And I don't want anybody who's gonna, if someone in my life is gonna always be putting me down, I don't want them in my life anymore. I really don't. And I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not going to give anyone permission anymore to put me down, to devalue me, demean me, um, gaslight me. I'm not gonna put up with those things anymore, because I deserve to be respected. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to have someone that appreciates me for who I am. And we have to tell ourselves that when we go through narcissistic abuse. We have to tell ourselves, hey, I deserve to be treated much better. I don't care if they love bombing you, buying you every gift and all that kind of stuff. You can keep that stuff, because I'm not a prostitute. I'm not for hire. You can't treat me any kind of way and then think that, just because you buy me some gifts, that I'm supposed to just be okay with it. No, I'm not. And see, that's what my mother would do. She would love bomb me, and she would buy stuff, send it to me that I didn't ask for, but send it to me. And then, once you received it, then she felt as if she was entitled to treat me and talk to me and verbally abuse me. And I just said no, I wasn't gonna take it anymore, and I didn't. I stopped. I said I stopped. I had written a book, and the book, I'm an author, and I write my own books, and I do my own illustrations and everything. And so the last book that I did, she was going through the book. Oh, this book is nice. I love it and everything. And then in my spirit, it was like, wait for it, wait for it. And I had it because I didn't even open my mouth, because I was waiting for her to come up with something. And then she came to a certain picture in the book. She was like, oh, this picture doesn't look like what it's supposed to look like. And I told her, well, the book is already out. I'm satisfied with the book. I think the book is good. And it actually, people who read the book, said that they really liked the book. And I told her that, I'm not going to take it off the shelf because I like the book. The book is good. And it's on Amazon. And so she goes to tell me, well, you just want me to tell you what you want to hear. Mind you, I didn't ask for her opinion anyway. It was her trying to give me an opinion. And in my spirit, it was saying, wait for it, because she was sure, but slowly but surely, she was going to say something negative. And so, I told her I was not going to take the book off the shelf. I'm keeping it on. It's out already. I'm happy with it. I was pleased with it. And hey, if even if it wasn't the greatest picture, guess what? It was my picture. Even if it wasn't to perfection, my name was on the book. I'm the one that wrote it. I'm the one that edited it. I'm the one that did the illustration. It was my book. And so she couldn't handle that. So she goes to berate me just because I wasn't going to change my book just because of her. Mind you, she didn't do anything for us writing the book or anything. Her name is not even on the book. But see, when you don't do what narcissists want you to do, then they'll try to tear down your character. They'll try to make you feel as if uh, like you've actually done some harm to them, and you just saying, I just told her this is my book, okay, you don't like the picture, it's not up to your satisfaction, that's fine, but it's my book and I'm satisfied with it. And see, there used to be a time I would have said, well, maybe I need to take it off the shelf and redo it. No, I wasn't gonna do that. I stood my ground, and to this day, that picture's in that book the way I want it. And so she couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle it because I wasn't bowing down to what she wanted. See, narcissists, they want to control you. And I remember before I even told her, before I even learned, about narcissism, I used to tell her all the time, I said, you always trying to control me. I'm like, I'm a grown woman. Stop trying to control me. And she felt she had the right to, you know. And I'm like, it's my life, my decision. Whatever I do in life, which it wasn't like I was doing anything bad. It's my decision. It's my choice. It's my life. But see, she didn't have a life of her own. Therefore, she wanted to control mine. And that wasn't going to happen. You know, I'm an independent person. I'm an independent thinker. And what I think, no, and I believe in God. And so I believe that, hey, as long as I got the green light from God, I'm okay, because it's good to take advice. Don't get me wrong. It's good to take advice, but you gotta be careful who you take advice from. Because when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's not that they want to give you advice. It's about they want to control you. They want to control your life. And so therefore, when you say no, they can't handle it. They want to control you. And I'm not one that wants to be controlled. I'm a grown woman. I have my own mind. I have my own thoughts. I have my own ideas about things. So the other day, I got a phone call, and my brother, he was asking me, "Do you remember when Mom whipped you with a extension cord?" And I said, "Yeah, I remember one time. I don't remember all the details, but I do remember one time." And so I didn't ask what was going on in their conversation, because I'm in a total different state. I didn't ask what was going on in their conversation. But what I did do, I just said, you know what? I'm leaving that between them, because I don't want to be dragged into their drama. And one thing when you're dealing with narcissists, they always got to have some drama going on. Always mad about something. Always fussing about something. Always arguing about something. And if you let them pull you in it, they will pull you in it. And then before you know it, it's your fault that the drama is taking place. That's how they operate. So I'm just glad that I'm out of that situation. It's been peaceful for me this year and a half, and I'm grateful for. I've been able to do a lot of research when it comes to narcissism. I've been able to understand a lot of the dynamics of things that took place for me growing up, and even how she became a narcissist and all that. And I have to say my grandmother was a narcissist, and my mom is a narcissist, and my brother is a narcissist, and my dad is an enabler, and I'm a codependent, you know. But that's okay, because I've learned how to not allow my codependency to no longer define me. See, when you don't know, then you wind up making mistakes. But once you find out and educate yourself, then you understand. So one thing I've learned is I will never be able to please my mother. She'll never be able to love me, because she don't love herself. All my life it was like I've always been this disappointment. You ain't no good daughter. All my life, you ain't no good daughter. You don't do nothing for me. So I've always been this great disappointment to her. And you know what? I'm okay with that, because guess what? I only have to meet my own standards. I now understand that I don't have to meet anyone else's standards but God and my own. And long as God is pleased with me, then it doesn't matter what demons of hell come up against you. Sometimes you get tired. You get tired of the abuse. And I just, I got tired. See, sometimes people think, well, what happened? And did something major happen? Sometimes when you've gone through abuse with people, you could be gone through years of abuse, and it could be just the one day you just say, enough is enough. It could be just the slightest little thing. And you just say, you know what, I can't take it no more. And that's what I did. I just got to the point, I just say, you know what, I can't do this no more. I can't. I can't take the verbal abuse no more. I can't take the emotional abuse no more. I can't take the spiritual manipulation, because that's another thing. When I didn't do things the way she wanted me to, then God's gonna get you, and God is on her side, and then it made me start questioning God, because I'm like, God, how in the world is it that she is never convicted of her wrong, but then she thinks that you always on her side, but she's never convicted that she does anything wrong? But I had to also understand that God he will he will allow his spirit to whisper in your ear. But sometimes we ignore God and we say, I'm not doing that. And so I don't think that it isn't that God has not said anything to her. I believe she just what the Bible talks about being of a reprobate mind. And so when you have a reprobate mind, that means you're not going to listen to the Holy Spirit. So when it comes to that, that's between her and God. I can't control it. It's not for me to control it. Only thing I can say is that, you know what, God? Hey, you've seen it. You know what's going on. And it's in your hands. It's not up to me. It's in your hands. And so I'm just turned over to God because there's nothing I can do. I can't change a narcissist. In the Christian community, we call it the Jezebel spirit. And most people know a little bit about Jezebel. And Jezebel was a wicked woman. She was very controlling. She was very domineering. She was very manipulative. She killed the prophets. She always had to have things her way. And it gets deep. And so when you're looking at the trace of a narcissist in the Christian community, we call it Jezebel because that's how Jezebel was. So my mother she has the Jezebel spirit. But I've learned that I've had to talk to myself and I've had to tell myself, you know what? You are a good woman. You are a strong woman. You are an independent woman. You are a beautiful woman. You are a very intellectual woman. You deserve to be loved. And yes, we all make mistakes, but guess what? See, you're not gonna go through life and not make a mistake because we all gonna make mistakes. But the thing is, as long as you learn from those mistakes, that's the thing. See, if you keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, then you're not learning anything. But then you make a mistake, you're like, you know what? I learned from that mistake, so I know don't try that particular whatever again. And you get up and move on. And see, narcissists, they want to beat you down. Any kind of flaws that you may have or whatever, they love to focus in on those. They act like they don't have any flaws themselves. In their mind, they're the ultimate, they're the epitome of perfection in their deluded mind. And so my mother, she always can point, you need to work on this and you need to do that. And I said to myself, and you're talking, and I would say to myself, I'm like, wow, you pointing the finger at everybody else, but then what about your skeletons, But, I didn't say it to her. I even in the midst of our problems, I tried to be respectful. I don't believe in being disrespectful, but I do believe sometimes you have to stand up for yourself, but in a respectful manner. But, so some things I just didn't say. I'm just thinking to myself, wow, who are you to talk, you know? Somebody who didn't do anything with their life other than, yeah, you had kids or whatever, but, I went and surpassed you. But see, with narcissists, they never look at your accomplishments. They always have something to measure you by that they didn't even meet themselves. And that's who they are. That's who they are. So, do I fool myself into thinking that me and my mother ever have a healthy, lasting relationship? No. No. I'm a realist. And especially when I know things that, with education, with me learning about how they operate. When it comes to borderline personality disorder, NPD, histrionic personality disorder, these people, they normally don't change. They normally don't change. And there's nothing I can do about it. And so when you get in your mind to say, well, they're not going to change, then you lower the expectation of that hope, because a lot of times we've held on to the hope of, well, they're going to change one day. No, not really. No. Nope. Don't hold on. Don't hold on to holding on. Don't be trying to keep hope alive. You'll be disappointed. Anyway, that's the end of this chronicle. And I'll be back next time.